Hey friends, I had a one of those experiences this morning that was a reminder of something that I've known for a long time. I was sitting in meditation and I've got something going on in this shoulder. It's either tendonitis or it might be a rotator cuff tear. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm sorting it out. YouTube is helping me figure out what's going on here. But I was sitting in meditation, and unfortunately, I feel it in meditation. Like after maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, it starts to, just the weight of my shoulders sitting starts to sort of throb over here. And I say unfortunately only because it takes my attention in meditation. But there's something else that happens is that as I sit with it and as I feel into it, I can literally feel it healing. And I've been convinced for many, many, many years now that consciousness is curative. Consciousness is healing. You want to heal something? Become conscious of it. That's just been my experience again and again and again on the psychological level, on the emotional level, and on the physical level. Sometimes on the physical level, we think that it works differently. We think of it like, think of our body kind of like a car mechanic thinks of a car. Like if a piece is broken, you have to fix the piece, which you do, but there's a larger, because we are alive, there's a larger context, a larger sort of energetic context that is guiding our healing and letting ourselves just sit with a pain. Sitting with pain is one of the most healing things we can do. I've learned this, I think the way that it really kind of landed with me and that I've been able to come to understand it is through having a Qigong practice, which I also, interestingly, spent a fair amount of time today doing. I've been a little patchy with my Qigong practice recently, but I'm coming back to it, and especially with injuries like whatever's going on over here, there's some ways in which Qigong is kind of the perfect response. It's the perfect approach. And in Qigong practice, I tell students this all the time. We're gonna think, when we start Qigong practice, we're gonna think that the Qigong practice is causing all this tension and sometimes pain and sometimes just general discomfort, tightness in the breathing, tightness in the back, tightness in the joints, because we weren't feeling it before, and now we've started a practice of gentle movement, sometimes stillness, sometimes gentle movement, but a lot of awareness, moving through the body, focusing in certain areas of the body. And before you know it, all this tension pops up, all these little pains and tweaks and twinges. And what I have learned by practicing Qigong consistently over time is that that's how you heal them. That's how it works. You sit with it. You let yourself feel it. We let ourselves feel it. Ideally, we connect that feeling with a breath of some kind. So there's a kind of like, it's not just a static feeling of pain or tension. It's a feeling of pain or tension that we give a little bit of a movement massage to with our breathing. And little by little, those things unravel, the tensions release, and injuries heal. So today as I sat in meditation, it's kind of annoying to be sitting in meditation and to be drawn to a physical pain. That's not our fate. It's very similar to being in the qigong practice and having our attention drawn to a physical pain. In qigong practice, a lot of times we can find ways of rolling, moving, breathing, accommodating. There's a kind of, the practice is part of the treatment. The practice is designed to be a treatment for physical, emotional, and psychological and energetic issues. Meditation, of course, is also that, but we think of meditation as being primarily in the mind, primarily kind of psychic experience. And so physical pain kind of takes us out of that. Now, what I actually find, and I remember, I was reminded of the first Vipassana that I went on, which is a 9-day Buddhist meditation retreat in silence. You're meditating 8-9 hours a day, 10 hours more, all day basically, except when you're not eating. Like anytime you're not eating, or I forget if they do little breaks between sessions, but it's basically you're like on this grid of 1-hour meditations all day long. And I had one day, I forget, it was around about day 4 or 5, 6, somewhere in there. I think maybe a little past halfway through. It was like I was meditating with a flamethrower blowing on me. My whole body just felt completely like I was on fire. Like my body was on fire, and it was like this level of tension that, with enough stillness, in the context of enough stillness, just became so prominent. It was like being seated in a fire. I felt like my entire myofascia of my body just experiencing this, and it was more than just like a tight muscle. It was like tension on a level that goes beyond just the physical. And I had a little bit of that as I worked with my shoulder today. I had a little bit of that come back to me. Now, it wasn't my whole body, it wasn't nearly as intense, but it was the same kind of like, oh, if I bring stillness to this, if I actually remain in stillness, then this will gradually come to prominence. Like my awareness has to go there because my body is asking to be healed. In the case of my Vipassana experience, my body was asking for a release. It was like, we need to let this go. And I was in a context where there was enough stillness provided by the circumstances. I could sit and actually be still in a way that let me have access to that. So I'm mostly saying this because it feels like it feels like something that if I can recognize it, then I can do this consciously. I can stop, not think of an injury or pain as being something that is distracting me from meditation, but actually becomes the object of my meditation in some ways, as a way of hopefully resolving it and healing on a deeper level. So that's where I'm at today, folks. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you again soon.